Hello again, welcome back to my channel. As always, I'm Brad, and if you're a subscriber here, thank you so much for your support. It helps out this little channel so much more than you know. And if you're new here, thank you for clicking on this video. I'm an artist and an animator with over 20 years of experience working in the animation industry. And on this channel, I want to share some of my techniques that I've learned over the years and share them with you. So please subscribe, hit that like button so I can continue to make videos about the art of storytelling, drawing and software tutorials, comic books, and animation, and more. In today's video, we're talking about drawing the female form. But first, let's not skip leg day. Gotta wrap up some male anatomy from last week. Last week, we talked about the male figure and the anatomy of the torso and arms. So let's continue with that and focus on the male legs for a moment before we move on to female anatomy. So let's use this male front view torso breakdown and add a front view of the leg. I'll add the side view as well because the muscle placement is quite different from front view to side. I'll switch to a blue line here so that I can really sort of draw out the individual leg muscles. As an artist, knowing the names of the various muscles such as the quadriceps or hamstrings is not as important as knowing the shape and the placement, as well as the shapes that they create when combined as a whole. Speaking of shapes, when roughing out the legs or any of the limbs, always start with cylinders, but give the cylinders an idea of the leg shape that you're going for. Something like this is not bad. They are nice cylinders and you can work with them, but practice aiming for the shape of the limb or the legs that you're going for. So something like this is better. To me, the leg muscles always reminded me of a bunch of little teardrops combined to make a larger teardrop. This way of imagining the muscles as something else, like a teardrop or diamonds maybe, they always kind of helped me memorize the muscle placement when I was drawing. What about you? As I mentioned before, you don't need to draw every muscle on your character. Some simple line work will do just fine. As long as you know the shapes of the underlying muscles, then you're good. And stylize it as much as you want until you find your own look. Now, let's talk about drawing the female form. Here are some original drawings of mine that I've done of women characters and some commissions that I've done recently. Women, like all humans in general, come in every shape, size, and height. And like the male characters we were working on, here we're going for strong and confident, athletic, heroic female characters. Notice how my breakdown and structure for this female character is exactly how I break down a male character. The difference is in the form and the proportions. Let's pause on this rough breakdown for a moment and look at some masters of drawing the female form. Here are a few of my favorites. Like Adam Hughes, known for his stunning cover art of Marvel and DC's superhero women. Or J. Scott Campbell with his unique, long, lean, and stylized look. Or Arthur Adams, a master artist with his highly detailed, cartoony and curvy style that blew people away when he hit the scene in the 80s. And of course, Frank Cho, with his thick and curvy, strong and busty style make it impossible not to love. But the goal of designing your female characters, or any characters for that matter, is conveying the personality of the character visually. So simply being beautiful or sexy or strong and flawless is not a personality. Now, let's get back to drawing this female figure. And like the male figure, this breakdown begins with shapes and cylinders before I add any muscle detail. But instead of a flat 3/4 front pose, when drawing women, I usually add a subtle S curve to the spine to emphasize the hips and add to the character's overall feminine presence. The muscle groups are somewhat similar to the male figure, but much leaner. And you would rarely want to add highly detailed muscle rendering to a female character unless you're drawing a She-Hulk character or an intense woman bodybuilder, so then less is more. To me, the most defining element of drawing the female form is the torso and the hourglass shape. Slender but strong shoulders, thin tapered waist, and wide hips. Now let's look at designing the front view. 2 rectangles tapered at the waist, a center line, and roughly 8 heads tall. The bottom of the breasts should be just above the elbow lines. This is a basic front view just to give you a guideline. Sizes and proportions of the overall character are really up to you as you're designing her. Let's go ahead and add a profile or side view as well. Now let's add some detailed anatomy in blue. So while it's good to know all of the underlying anatomy, that's a lot of line work. You really won't need to draw that much detail on your characters, but understanding the placement of the muscles is important. Now let's compare our male anatomy figures. Anatomically, those are some extreme differences. When you're drawing the muscles of your characters, try to only emphasize the most dominant muscle groups, and keep it subtle. Aim for shapes, even in your rough stages, and twist that torso for more dynamic posing. And keep it simple. So thank you so much for watching until the end of the video, and if you haven't already, please subscribe and hit that like button. And please comment and let me know what you think of the video. I read and answer every comment, so please let me know what you think. And let me know if there's something you want to see me cover in a future video. All the best, and I'll see you in the next one.